develop your writing voice? Well, you may not love this answer, but my answer is to practice and practice a lot. So, what is a writing voice? A writing voice is the voice that people hear when they read your words. Now, if I give you a writing prompt and I take that very same writing prompt and I give that writing prompt to my best friend, we are all three going to write very different stories. We're going to choose different words. We're going to structure our sentence differently. And we may even choose, one of us might choose a tragedy and the other one a comedy, and somebody else might choose a historical story. We would choose something very different based on our personalities, what we like, how we see that particular prompt. So your voice is essentially how you bleed out on the paper. It's the parts of you that are left, even in your fiction, and there are parts of you that are left. So what I did to develop my writing voice is I went and I practiced different styles of writing. Now, the different things that go into your voice are, do you write in first person, second person, or third person? Now, first person is I, second person is you, and third person is she, him, her, they, those types of things. So first person is as if it is you doing everything. The second person is I am telling you what you're doing. It's kind of a strange one. Not a lot of people use second person. If you can use it, I'm very impressed. Please send me your things. I want to read them. And then the third person is you are telling the story as almost as if you are the narrator. Both second and third are narrator positions. What point of view you choose, first, second, or third, but also what tense you use. Are you present tense or past tense in your writing? Now, as I wrote my first novel, I found that my voice changed from when I wrote my poetry. When I write my poetry, I write in present tense, meaning it's happening now, and I write in first person, which means even if the story is not about me, this is how I write my poetry. The benefit of this is that it breaks down all barriers between your story and the writer. The limit is you can't head hop. You can't have tons of different characters and tons of different stories that sort of intertwine into one giant pattern. So the benefit then of third person is that it can be woven like a tapestry, like a blanket, with a big pattern that kind of all ties together. So as I started writing my novel, I realized that I wasn't going to write it in first person. My voice was essentially going to change based on the need of the novel that I was writing. And so then it did start to change. And then I realized that I didn't enjoy writing it in present tense either. That sort of changed with the story as well. And it was really sort of eclectic. It was very, very strange where one sentence would be present tense and the next would be past tense. And there was just this jumble, awful mess as I worked my way through it. But that is the working your way through it is the best way to realize this is what works for me and this is not what works for me. This is awful when I try this. Now, a writer who is well known and well loved, the Harry Potter series, if we're talking J.K. Rowling, right? Everybody loves Harry Potter. She's a writer who is a very good example of finding your writing voice. Because if you go back to the books, start with the first book, read a little bit of it, and then open the last book and read a little bit of it. And you will notice that the tone of the book changed. The age of her audience changed. Her word choices changed. How she described things changed. There was so much that changed throughout that huge series. And if you really look at it throughout the progress of it, you notice that really what was happening is she was coming into her own. She was actually finding her voice because she got famous so quickly. She published so quickly that it took until all the way to the end before she realized she likes writing young adult, and she likes writing things that are darker and more gripping, but with this theme of redemption, this theme of saving people. She really likes that, and that's what she incorporates into her writing now. And if you look at her spin-off series, Fantastic Beasts with Newt, you'll notice that it incorporates those same elements, the same tone, the same sound, the same feel that her later books incorporated, and doesn't have any of the middle grade elements that were in earlier books. So if you work out all those kinks now while you're still practicing, then when you get to your writing, it's going to already be sort of set, and people will recognize your tone immediately. And there's a huge benefit to that. She was very, very lucky that her audience grew up with her writing style changing. The rest of us, we don't have that luxury, probably. So you're really going to want to use flash fiction here. Or if you are writing a novel, go back and look at your novel. Make sure that if it's past tense, it stays past tense. If it is present tense, which is I am doing this, make sure everything is am. There's no eds, there's no dids, there's no was. Everything is, am, will, those types of words. And then make sure that it's very focused on whether it is I or you or them. Okay, so just double check that. And if you feel like I'm not quite sure that I'm doing the right, then pick a miniature story, write a flash fiction, focus on it that way. Don't forget, if you haven't rang the bell yet, ring that darn bell. Hang out with us, because I'm going to teach you how to use flash fiction to write your next bestseller. Welcome to my channel.